Well, I won't be threatened by raiders or by corporations. I have power armor. What do you have? Soda? Hello everybody, my name is YujimboXD and welcome to the channel. War never changes. But you know what does? Mods, because they receive updates. And this one has received another major update. This is Old World Blues, or the Fallout mod for Hearts of Iron 4. So this is the second time we're revisiting this mod. Why? Because I just finished the new Fallout TV show and I'm in the mood. Also, because not only was I asked to play this, I was mandated to play it by one of the devs. So you don't have to threaten me with nuclear annihilation to get me to play this, because not only is this my favorite mod for Hearts of Iron, this might be my favorite mod for any game ever. I love Old World Blues, mostly because I love Fallout, and the way they've implemented the world of Fallout into this mod is simply amazing. They've done a great job. It has a ton of polish on it. As you can see, they're on version 5. So it has been out for years now, and they've continued to put an enormous amount of effort into it. So I'm excited to come back and look at it. So hopefully you're as big a fan of Fallout as I am. So we'll take a look at the new update for this and see what new things they've implemented. So the first thing they've changed is the scenario screen. It now shows you which theaters you can operate out of, although I do kind of miss the charm of the old screen a little bit. But we're going to the Northern Commonwealth. We already looked at New Vegas once before, and we looked at Texas, so I figured it's time to turn our gaze north. So I was reading an article the other day that said Fallout 76 is enjoying a nice resurgence since the TV show came out. And for those who don't know, that is the MMO for Fallout that came out several years ago. And in that game, without spoiling too much, you do some work for the Enclave. So that's who we're going to play today. And if anyone's ever interested in seeing me play Fallout 76, let me know. I'd love to do it. I love that game too. But either way, we are going to do some work for the Enclave today. And I believe they were added last patch. So that's who we'll play today. And technically, we're playing my favorite country from the base game, America, because that's who the Enclave is. They're the remnants of the US government, and they're basically supervillains. They have underground bases, spooky henchmen, and plenty of doomsday weapons. So that's who we're playing today. And we start here in the Montana region in MacArthur. So we have Iron Man mode off and historical AI on. And let's get into it to rebuild the nation. All right, so here we are in MacArthur, and we have our usual blurb from the devs. So support your devs if you like their mods. But this just has some more information on the mechanics of this if you're unfamiliar with this mod, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the features in this unless there's something new that I haven't seen before, because we have seen this mod before. So if you want to get a more in-depth look at the mechanics, go look at my previous 2 videos. But tonight we are just going to see if we can rebuild America. So we have our starting army here of some soldiers, and we even start with some power armor, although it's not the really good XO1 stuff. I guess that's for gameplay reasons. We'd be a little too OP if we had the really advanced power armor right off the start, but that's okay. Usually any power armor is good enough to stomp over these savages. Let's take a look at our focus tree. Yep, that's a pretty big focus tree. And I like how there's 2 philosophies when it comes to making focus trees. You can either make one big chunky focus tree, or you can make different focus trees broken out by their categories. I'm not really sure which one I prefer, but we'll begin at the beginning and we'll start rebuilding America. So I believe we are basically a colony of the Chicago Enclave. All right, we have our first decision of the game. We're getting threatened by some raiders. Well, we're the US government. We will not bow down to these terrorists, but just to be sure, let's get the troops in position first before we negotiate. All right, we finished our first focus, and this is just giving us a bit of history. We lost our oil rig, we lost our contacts in the east. Things are looking kind of bleak, but we have our tough mother, Ellen Santiago, the mother of Montana here. She'll help us rebuild, and the best way to do that is not saving non-combatants, it's saving all the best gear. Manpower can be replaced, but that equipment cannot be replaced. More history, I guess we're also part of the remnants from Navarro, which was an Enclave base in the west that got taken out too. I believe that was Fallout 2. The raiders seem a bit too afraid to actually follow through on their promise to be raiders, but this is the US government, son. We don't take very kindly to threats. And see, this isn't just a brutal dictatorship, we're a family here. We even have our daughter out on the front lines just securing the wasteland for us. So we'll put her in charge of the super troopers. And here in Central America, in Montana, we got off pretty light when it came to the nukings, so we actually are able to grow some stuff and produce some resources, which we can then use to trade with Chicago for some guns. Chicago is thirsty, and we are in desperate need of firearms, so it seems like a good trade to me. And it looks like our daughter's team found a underground mall, and immediately somebody wants to use our Team October to take over the place. So we can get 25 guns for destroying this trading hub, or we can get this really nice bonus instead, which is what I'm going to do. Seriously, 25 guns, that's the best offer you can do for destroying a city? Come on, I've gotten better offers than that before. So we'll take our graph plates. I'd rather have the buff anyways. And it appears we have a mechanic where we have to send tribute to our overlords in Chicago. And if we don't, it will tank our stability. So we can either send them water or we can send them power. And while I currently have more power than water, I think I'm going to need that power in the future, so I can spare the water. Well, it looks like the raiders don't want to start a border conflict. They just want to raid my caravans instead. Meanwhile, I'm still 200 days out from my justification on one of them. And it looks like the followers of the apocalypse want to join us. Are you quite sure about that? You know what we get up to over here, right? Okay, but don't mind the tanks of FEV everywhere. And it looks like we're being used as a bit of an Australia for the Chicago Enclave, and they are sending our prisoners to us. And now the families of those prisoners are a bit worried that something horrible has happened to them. I don't know what gave them that idea, but let's see if we can put those rumors to rest. It looks like our first stop is to the corporal, who's getting drunk on synthahol, which I guess they imported from the Enterprise. But we need to motivate him to do his job. All right, that was a long 375 justification day, but we are finally ready to declare war on the Stormmongers. And let's get to it right away, because it looks like they don't even have troops on all their borders. And their soldiers don't appear to be moving even though I'm encircling them. But I'm not a Tyrannosaurus Rex. My sight isn't based on movement, so I'm just going to encircle them. And the Van Graffs want a loan of just all my money. No, you won't even sell me guns. Yeah, just walking around all their troops now. And there we go. Although I do believe they were at war with the Cult of Liberty, so they may try and steal some of this. But it's only 1 point to take all this land? Okay. Is this the special power of the Enclave? We control the peace conference? All right, that is the Stormmongers down. Now to deal with the Metal Mouths. Sorry, Cyborg, but you gotta go. But I don't like you and the rest of the Teen Titans threatening me. And hey, look, the justification time went down to half. Thank you, World Tension. And it seems one of our arms dealers is skimming, so we can either let him go and gut punch ourselves with a big stability hit, or we can deal with this the Enclave way. Get me my plasma rifle. And it looks like the Cult of Liberty has reopened a Nuka-Cola plant. Well, at some point we may need to reclassify that as a strategic resource and acquire that for ourselves. Now we're having to deal with people smuggling refugees into our territory. We can turn a blind eye, but that's not the America I know. Let's send them to the stockades. All right, we have finished our justification on the Metal Mouths, and I can see the Rot Purgers to my west are under attack, so I'm going to start justifying on them, and maybe we can steal some land off them once this war is over. This is just a little bit of war before my war, so let's get the Metal Mouths. And there we go, got a bunch of their troops encircled near Harlowtown. I'm surprised, they had a lot more troops than I realized, but nothing I can't encircle. And there we go, Metal Mouths down. That's what you get for threatening the US government. All right, over to the Rot Purgers, see if we can steal some land. And the Cult of Liberty is demanding territory, the same people who brought us that Nuka-Cola plant. Well, I won't be threatened by raiders or by corporations. I have power armor. What do you have? Soda? All right, and now the Cult of Liberty has declared war on us. That's okay, we outnumber them. So I'm just going to do some manual encirclements here. And they didn't even bother to defend some of these river crossings. And we do need to finish up this war because we finished our justification against the Rot Purgers, and I don't want to lose it. So we're just going to snake all their victory points. And there we go, Cult of Liberty down. I don't know why you thought attacking me was a good idea, but hey, we'll take your Nuka-Cola plant. Thanks. All right, now we have to quickly turn around and finish off the Rot Purgers and steal some more land. I mean, liberate America. And we're getting threatened again already by these raiders who share this tiny border with us. Once again, no, I don't bow to terrorists. Wait a minute, you're a very strange terrorist, apparently. Getting bullied by an anime mascot. All right, Rot Purgers are on their last legs, so let's go. Maybe we can flex our steal everything superpower during the peace conference. And it looks like, just in time, we're getting some reinforcements from Chicago. We got 2 more power armor divisions, getting a pretty decent sized army now. All right, and the Rot Purgers are down. And look, we do get to steal all this land. That's strange. I tried to annex all the land and it flipped over to the old country regardless. I'm not quite sure why that happened. My only guess is because I have a focus to deal with them later. And in case you're curious, I am still having to pay tribute every so often to my overlords in Chicago, but it does seem to be proportional based on how many resources I do have available. So I'm going to just give them as little as possible. And it appears some of our families were called back home. RIP Civilian Factory. It's not like I have a whole lot to begin with. So we finished the focus stealing fire from the gods, which has given us a war goal on Yellowstone. So let's get them. Maybe we can build a underground base in the super volcano volcano. That would be very supervillain of us. And I didn't see this little area over here that I didn't have troops on. Well, maybe we can play Snipe the Victory Point. There we go. Who knew you could beat a national park in a victory point race? All right, there we go. Got Yellowstone. Looking pretty big now. So this is the real reason we invaded Yellowstone. There is a giant geothermal plant hidden underneath it. And now that we've captured it, we can decide what to do with it. We could share it with our fellow Americans, but that would piss off Daddy Chicago. So we'll just give it to our overlords in Chicago, and in return, they'll give us some fun toys. And they will reward our loyalty as good Americans with firearms, like you do. All right, so I was bored waiting around, and I decided to justify against these Native American tribes up here. Were they bothering us? No. But I'm just keeping up the long tradition of the American government forcefully resettling Indians. Listen, we already created the FEV, so why not continue our crimes against humanity? Dang it, and the Enclave keeps pulling our people away to the east. Nobody wants to go to Iowa. For guys with just bows and arrows versus men in power armors, they put up one heck of a fight. But welcome to the team nonetheless. Your bows and arrows will prove a potent weapon in our arsenal. All right, I think it's time we deal with a real foe, the Sisters of Steel, a spin-off group of the Brotherhood of Steel. So I guess we'll just have to show them the superiority of the XO1. And it looks like we're having some trouble in our new Steel Town, so we'll just send in Team October to wreck up the place. And we get a free toy as a reward. Neat. And some nasty rumors are starting to spread around about us that we might be doing some horrible experiments. That is an FEV. It's a new flavor of Nuka-Cola. It's perfectly safe to drink. I'm not gonna drink it. I'm on a diet. Diet of not getting turned into a super mutant. And we now have a focus to core a bunch of our territories, and some of the first territories we conquered are starting to reach a high enough compliance that we can start annexing them. So hopefully that can fix our manpower problem. All right, it has been 1 year. We've finished our justification on the Sisters of Steel. Let's do it. Let's see how tough other people in power armor are, and do a little force defense. Let them wear themselves out here for a minute. I'm okay with that. Oh, tucking out already. All right, let's see if we can get some encirclements going. Here we go. Got half their army encircled already. And more worse news. Our radio network has been damaged, and we lost contact with Chicago. There we go. Starting to make some breakthroughs in the north here. And while we're at it, let's use their cipher. I forgot I captured that a while ago. And Chicago's asking for more resources. I don't know how they're getting in contact with them, but we'll give them less than one machinery. You have fun with that. And there we go. The Sisters of Steel are down. And it looks like we had a bit of an altercation between one of our soldiers and the citizens. And now they want to execute him. Ah, come on. It was just a mild pistol whipping. No need to execute him over it. See? And even Mom agrees. It's a ridiculous idea. All right, we've gotten to the bottom half of our focus tree, and now we have a bit of a choice. We can stick with Ma Santiago here, Mother Montana. We can switch to her daughter, or we can go full toady and toe the line for Chicago. But Ma got us this far, so in Ma we trust. And the special envoy Chicago sent to us ended up with a sudden case of bullet to the head. And now we're at war with this tiny territory over here. Oh, it's our daughter. She isn't cool with what we just did. Well, I'm not cool with you rebelling, so I'm gonna put Sergeant Grant in charge and come kick your ass. And I already have one of my soldiers there. How convenient. All right, just hurl everything in there. Should be easy. Yup, that was easy. No daughter of mine is gonna tell me how to run the US government. And thus ends the sad tale of October team. Should have just listened to your mother. But with that, we now become the Northern Command and get a spiffy new flag to make it official. And probably next to Caesar's Legion, we are the strongest faction in the Wasteland now. So, final thoughts on the mod. I loved returning to Old World Blues. This is still my favorite mod out there. There is still so much to see in this mod. I feel like years later into this mod, I still feel like I haven't touched everything in it. So, if you're a big fan of Fallout and Hearts of Iron, this mod, more so than any other mod, I recommend playing. It is fantastic. So, thank you once again to the devs and everyone else who gave me a shout out to play this again. I am more than happy to come back and look at Old World Blues. So, if there are any other mods or games you'd like to see, let me know down in the comments below, or in Discord, or over on Twitter. You can find me over at all the usual spots. And until next time, God bless America and our nuclear arsenal.